Hello and welcome back. I'm Natalie MacDonald and you're watching Sydney Direct on Dukascopy TV. At the FSC annual conference, CEO Sally Loane called on the government to pledge a 12% superannuation guarantee by 2022. I caught up with Sally Loane shortly after the speech to find out a little bit more information and how this could help the future prosperity of the Australian economy. Sally Loane, many thanks for taking the time to chat with Dukascopy TV. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Natalie.
So we're here at the FSC annual conference and today we are discussing superannuation, a matter which you say is Australia's signature policy, but one that's not quite calibrated just yet to really reach its objectives. Can you expand a little bit on this?
Well, it started off 23 years ago, really by former Prime Minister Paul Keating, who had the vision that it would become essentially a retirement policy. It would provide adequate retirement incomes for the majority of Australians. And we started off with a very small amount of money being put aside, 3%. It was sort of a cottage industry back then. We're now at the stage where it's worth $2 trillion and we put aside 9.5% of our wages every week into superannuation. It's good, but it could be a lot better. And I think one of the reasons it's not reaching the potential that it should be is that it's still debated in a very partisan way. The community has confidence in superannuation, it likes superannuation, it supports it, but realises that we could still get a lot more value out of this great system.
Now, in your speech given today, you called for government to create a superannuation guarantee of 12% by 2022. How would this change the playing field of retirement income and super?
Essentially, it means that we need to put more away if we're going to self-fund our retirement. Most of us come into the workforce in very different stages. And for people who come in 2025, when superannuation is going to be 12%, they will essentially be able to fund their own retirements. It reduces pressure on the public purse by way of the age pension. So it means that generations now will not have to prop up a big bubble of people on the pension. So if we save more for our retirement, if we put more away for our retirement, and in our view that should be 12% as soon as possible, 2022, which is the 30th anniversary of the entire system, we can go a long way to self-funding all of our retirements and take the pressure off the public purse, because there'll be a lot of pressure on the public purse for things like health and aged care.
How also will this go about addressing those financial disadvantages that women are at, both during their professional lives and after then into retirement? It's something that both the FSC and also ANZ have been pretty vocal on in recent weeks.
There's been some really good information released in the last week or two by ANZ. They showed that on average, women start earning nearly $300 less than men in their first job. That's $15,000 over a year, and that by the end of their working life is a staggering $700,000 gap in income. That translates immediately to the gap in superannuation because they haven't been able to put aside as much as men. Women also have gaps in their career where they take time away from it for having children. They may sort of go into part-time work where their remuneration is quite low. So they never catch up to men. So there's a lot of ideas out there about making superannuation policy more flexible to enable women to be able to catch up to men, because women live longer than men. So having big cohorts of older women, often frail-aged, living on the age pension is not a good thing. We should have more women being able to fund themselves in retirement.
Now, we're at the FSC annual conference. It's been a brilliant conference thus far, and we still have more to come. What for you has been sort of the key takeaway? What will you be taking back to your desk on Monday, for example?
I'm really optimistic about the call that we made at this conference for the opposition and the government to come together and actually frame the purpose of superannuation and enshrine it in legislation in a bipartisan way. Now, we think that that could happen. I would like to think that by the time we got to the conference next year, that this will have already happened. We may have some special superannuation legislation which would protect the system forever.
Sally Loane, thank you so much for your time. Pleasure as always.
Thanks, Natalie.
Many thanks to Sally Loane, CEO of the Financial Services Council, for her time. I'll be back with plenty more exclusive interviews for you here from the FSC Annual Conference. For now, though, it's goodbye.